During the last few years, I've had the opportunity to go to some of America's largest birding festivals. And if you're unfamiliar with these, it's basically just a gathering of people that love looking at birds. There's field trips, vendor booths, different events, and they're really fun. So I'm going to show you the experience of the top 3 largest, and then we'll have a bonus festival at the end. So let's start with the biggest one, which is the biggest week in American birding. This normally takes place in mid-May, and the focus is colorful warblers. So these little birds that come through in the spring for their migration, they're super colorful, and you can get amazing looks at the biggest week in American birding in Ohio. Now, it's hard to get super accurate numbers for this, but it's a couple thousand people normally register, and then actually at the event there may be between 75,000 and 90,000 birders in the region. So it is one of the longer events, and this one is super fun. I got to go with my brother Ryan, and this is our experience at the biggest week. We were only there for about 5 days, and I think it's good to go a little bit before the festival starts or stay for a little bit after the festival ends so you can experience the region on your own and also the experience with all those birders there too. So enjoy your time at the biggest week.
While there are many birding festivals and celebrations across the United States, one of the largest and most well-known is the biggest week in American birding. Taking place in northern Ohio, this 10-day gathering consists of field trips, notable speakers, optics testing, and of course, plenty of birds. We had the opportunity to attend this renowned festival, to see everything that it has to offer, and of course, to show you what to expect if you want to attend. Day 1. To kick off our time at the biggest week in American birding festival, we got up bright and early and headed to Maumee Bay Lodge, the central location for festival activities. Here, we watched the first field trip vans depart, and logged our first birds of the week. Got a nice nocturnal species, the whippoorwill, that's popping off from this woodline here.
Whoa.
There it goes. Oh, that's a robin.
Well,
You got me for a second. But there's a whippoorwill in here. That's
yeah,
pretty
that was
cool. I'd add that one to our Ohio list right away. With the sky starting to brighten, and a few early morning birds on our lists already, we decided to go to one of the most well-known birding locations in all of northern Ohio, McGee Marsh. McGee Marsh is one of the centerpieces of the biggest week. The fact that it's situated along Lake Erie means that the marsh attracts tons of migratory birds, and for that reason, it also attracts many birders. The crown jewel of McGee Marsh is the boardwalk that gives eye-level looks at warblers and other migratory birds.
we're on the actual boardwalk here at McGee Marsh, and they have these really nice warbler photos. So even if you're a beginner, you can come and see what species you might see in their spring plumage, and they have the nice McGee Marsh sign. It feels so cool to be in such an iconic location.
We got to work finding different species, even though the conditions weren't perfect. Got a northern parula that was just sitting there. Saw a palm warbler too, so accumulating some species for sure.
It does feel a little slow.
It feels a little slow, and it feels a little ominous now that it looks like the storm clouds are coming in. Could we experience fallout? We'll see. Rain put an end to our birding at McGee Marsh, so we moved to a different hotspot, Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, where we could bird from the car. Found a great egret. Actually, found a couple of great egrets, but one was pretty nice and close to the road. You can actually see that green on the face, which is a really distinctive feature of those birds when they're in breeding plumage, so that's pretty cool. And then also a couple of other classic marsh species, Canada goose and then red-winged blackbird, that even though it is raining, was still calling and did not care whatsoever. Gotta love that about the red-winged blackbird. After finding many birds at Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, we got some food, and then went to find an interesting bird that was reported. We just stopped and got some coffee. The coffee shop was super cool. It's called Bright House. We met the owner, and he was a really nice guy. Gave us some stickers, gave us a tour of the shop and how they roast the coffee. Turns out they're getting coffee from all over the world in a bunch of different kinds. We learned more about coffee than I ever thought that there was to know, actually. So I would highly recommend that place. Now I think we're going to go back to the boardwalk to see if we can track down some more warblers, in particular a Brewster's warbler, which is actually a crossbreed between a golden-winged warbler and a blue-winged warbler. warbler. So I guess it would kind of be like a lifer for us because we've never seen that particular hybrid, even though it's not its own species, but we're still gonna try. It'd be a cool bird to see.
Aaron, one of the guides, found it, so we're gonna head to the location. I'm not sure if at Biggest Week, if when a rare bird is found, there's gonna be a billion people there. I kind of feel like there will be, but it'll be an interesting experience. Excited to see if we can find that Brewster's.
Back at the McGee Marsh Boardwalk, we started our search for the Brewster's warbler, and eventually noticed the telltale sign that a notable bird was around. A large group of birders and photographers.
It was a whirlwind. We saw some cool birds, but it was a massive group of people, which is like, it's cool that everybody gets to see it, but it also feels like you're constantly just in everybody's way. So it's kind of a interesting experience for sure. But nice to have like a lot of eyes looking at stuff, because we found some other stuff. There's scarlet tanager, black and white warbler in there. So I think once you find one thing, you can find other things mixed in. But it's definitely an experience I haven't been in with the crowd like that.
After spending some time looking at the Brewster's warbler, we checked out the rest of the boardwalk, finding a lot of different birds.
So we've had a lot of good stuff on the boardwalk. I feel like I'm definitely seeing the appeal. It's much longer than I thought, and there's just so much to see. Like, you can go every couple feet and see a new bird. We had an oven bird, there was a bay breast, and there's so many people to help find it. So I definitely am understanding the boardwalk appeal.
I'm definitely also enjoying the boardwalk. What's cool is that there's just so many people that will help you see stuff. You know, you'll walk 10 feet and someone will be like, oh, I had this over here. And then you're like, oh, cool, I had this over here. And then you're all looking for the same birds, basically. So it's just a really nice mix of people helping people find cool birds. And there's a lot of them here to see. Next, we went back to Maumee Bay Lodge, checked in, and looked around.
So we're walking around the marketplace after checking in. So marketplace is where they have like the tour groups, people selling books, shirts and stuff like that. And then Optics Alley is separate. At some festivals it's kind of together. So here it seems like it's separate. This is more kind of the tour groups and buying things, not optic related. And then Optics have their own Optics Alley section.
After attending the opening ceremony, we walked around the lake right outside the lodge and then called it a day. Day 2. For day 2, we went back to McGee Marsh to start the day, this time for a Young Birders Walk.
We're back at the boardwalk for the Young Birders Walk, led by our friend Tyler, and it is a lot more crowded today. It's a Saturday, so there was not as much parking. We did find a spot, but it's pretty crazy, pretty windy. We're going to head to the boardwalk and start birding with some of those young birders.
The Young Birders Walk went well, as we found many different species, including some that we hadn't seen yet. Additionally, we found that while the birders were young, they were already very accomplished. Anything around here would be a life bird for you or no?
Not that I can think of right now.
So you're a pretty experienced birder.
Pretty experienced birder. I absolutely love it. I got into it about 5-ish years ago and haven't looked back since. So,
what's your life list at?
542. White wagtail was the most recent.
Wow, white wagtail. What's your life list at?
Not anywhere near that.
He's too embarrassed to say it out loud.
Yeah.
After the walk concluded, we stuck around the boardwalk and found some great birds, until once again, the rain put an end to our fun. So that was day 2 of 2, getting drenched at the boardwalk. I think we are now officially going to get some food, even though we said we were going to do it several times. Now we actually are, and we'll see what the weather does after that, because that's probably going to determine our next steps. We went to eat at Barnside Creamery, a place that was recommended to us by other festival goers, and definitely had a nice vibe. After that, we went to another birding hotspot in the region. After the rain stopped, we decided to go to Howard Marsh. Some people earlier in the week at a coffee shop actually told us they had some black-necked stilts and other shorebirds here. We haven't had a lot of shorebirds yet, so we're going to see if we can pick up some new state birds here at Howard Marsh. Howard Marsh proved to be a great spot for a variety of marsh species, including shorebirds. We did also end up finding black-necked stilts that we were able to see at close range.
That was by far the most cooperative black-necked stilt pair I've ever been around. They were hanging out super close, doing a little calling, and it's not just warblers here at Biggest Week. There's a lot to see in some of these marshes and these other hot spots, not just McGee Marsh.
To end the day, we went to a spot where barn owls have been known to roost. While we never did get a look at the barn owls, we did hear a woodcock to bring an end to what was a fantastic day. Day 3. On day 3, we headed west to join a field trip in a unique habitat. What a gnarly day.
It's not looking great. We're going to a place called Oak Openings with one of the tour groups. It's a meet-on-site trip, so we're meeting everybody there. It's supposed to be a really cool place, but it just is foggy. So that is not great for birding, and wet, which is also not great for birding when you're walking through grassland. So we'll have to see how we do, but Tyler, I know Tyler's one of the guides, so he's really good, so that should help us out, and hopefully it's still a really cool time.
I'm really excited for this Oak Openings trip because there's a lot of birds here that we haven't seen in the state yet. A lot of those grassland savanna type species. Some of the birds mentioned were lark sparrow, blue grosbeak. So I'm excited to get there, see what it's like, and maybe even find some other animals as well, such as reptiles, or I was told that even badgers live there, so it seems like anything's possible. When we arrived, we quickly noticed that it would be a great day for birding, but there would certainly be some annoyances along the way.
We just arrived at the Oak Openings field trip. It's cool, and we already heard blue-winged warbler, eastern towhee, but there's tons of bugs here. So that could be a little rough if we're swatting mosquitoes the whole time.
In spite of the biting insects, the first part of the field trip was great, and we found many birds that we hadn't seen yet in the state of Ohio. After exploring this part of Oak Openings, we moved to another portion of it that is known to have some of the most desirable birds in the area. I'm really excited for this part of the trip because there should be some lark sparrows there, maybe blue grosbeaks, grasshopper sparrows, so stuff that I find to be a little more rare in parts of the Midwest, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what species we can pull out of here. We quickly got eyes on lark sparrows, then eventually found blue grosbeaks, and even located a yellow-throated vireo as well. Next, we drove a short distance away and found some grasshopper sparrows that we got a tip about.
Alright, props to our friend Joe. He said we would pull up, we would hear them immediately. We pulled up, we hear them immediately. So we're going to get out and try to get some better looks. But there's definitely loads of grasshopper sparrows out there.
After that, we made a stop in Toledo to try what turned out to be one of the best pizzas we've ever had, and then made our way back east. We stopped at Pearson Metro Park, where we met up with our friend Trey and found a nice flock of warblers.
Got a ton of stuff in this flock. Golden wing views, there was a white-breasted nuthatch. We've had a red star Nashville in there, so this is pretty distant, but a pretty awesome flock we have here.
The golden wing warbler dropped down, giving us some decent views. That was a good find.
Yeah.
That's cool. Declining species.
It's nice because we got a big group now accumulated, so we're all helping to find birds.
After Pearson, Trey and I went back to Howard Marsh, where we found many of the same birds we had already seen there, plus a few new ones. Got the yellow-headed blackbird, super distant views, but Trey was able to spot it in his scope, which was awesome because it seems like a bird that's tricky to get this year. And then heard a least bittern, which is another cool bird that we had no hope of seeing if we tried to look for it, but hearing it helped us check it off the list. To conclude the day, we went back to Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, where we found 2 different bird species that we were really excited to see. Right up here there is a common nighthawk, and while like the name would suggest they are actually pretty common, it is uncommon to be able to see them during the day resting because their camouflage is so good. So it's really a treat to be able to see that one up there relaxing. I feel like the views of prothonotary warblers keep somehow getting better. Every time I think that it can't be beat, boom, I have another experience that tops it. That was crazy. It was just out in the open so close that I couldn't even film it. So that was a really wild, really neat way to experience that bird that is still singing in this swampy habitat. After finding these birds, we ended the day a bit early to rest up for the days that were yet to come. Day 4. The next day we went back to McGee Marsh. On this day, we wanted to explore the entirety of the marsh, but once again started on the boardwalk.
You ready to enter the boardwalk?
Yeah, it looks congested, so we'll see what we can find here. The good thing about the boardwalk is that there's a lot of eyes. The bad thing is there's a lot of people. So it's like there's good and bad to it. We quickly spotted many birds, and with the sheer numbers of warblers present, the birders were out in force too. We took some time to chat with some people that are notable in the birding community, and make some new friends too.
Hi there, I'm Peter Kasner and having a great time here on the McGee Marsh Boardwalk. It's great seeing so many new faces and old friends. It's great I have 3,000 Facebook friends, but I haven't met any of them. So it's great to see people that I've been following virtually for so many years and actually see them in the flesh. And the birds here, warblers at eye level, even the female red-winged blackbird just hanging out just a few inches away from the visitors here. So having a great time and enjoying every minute of it.
So far, we've seen Cape May, American Redstart, Blackbirdian, black-throated green warbler. Yeah, it's been a pretty good day so far, even though we're just by the entrance.
Yeah, we go birding other places and you can see them, but not 5 feet from your face. They're usually, you get your binoculars, you can see them from a distance, but on the boardwalk, it's crazy how they just fly. I mean, we had one literally land a foot from us. And it's pretty
crazy.
Cool.
We kept birding the boardwalk with our new friends, finding a variety of different warblers and an owl species that everyone was excited to see. Absolutely adorable eastern screech owl up in the tree here. Tons of people got to see it. It is definitely a fan favorite of everybody on the boardwalk. And it did come on the open, preened a little bit. It was a really nice experience for everyone. Next, we went to the estuary trail that gave us some views of marsh birds in addition to more warblers. Before leaving McGee Marsh, we stopped at the visitor center and took a look around. After that, we went next door to Optics Alley.
All right, we are making a stop at Optics Alley. So basically they have a tent set up and you can go in, check out the different optics companies. They should have places with different scopes, binoculars. You can go in and test them. So let's see what Optics Alley has to offer.
Optics Alley has scopes and binoculars from many of the top brands in the business and gives people the chance to test them out. We were even lucky enough to try out some cutting-edge products. So 10 days these will be released?
Yeah, May 16th.
So this is like a sneak peek at this festival of this item that's not even out yet.
Yes.
That's crazy. After Optics Alley, we went to go eat at a place that has become a must-visit for birders at the biggest week. We're at a place called Blackberry Corners now, and this is a place where you're supposed to go to get lifer pie. So when you get a life bird, you get to have some pie here, and they also have pizza and other things. So we're going to give it a try. It seems like it's a staple of the area. Having gotten our first ever taste of lifer pie, we went back to Maumee Bay Lodge, where we attended the nightly raffle and awarding of pins for life birds.
All right, is that everything for lifers?
You counting Brewsters or no?
Yeah.
From the other day.
All right, you got the Brewsters? Yeah. Brewsters Warbler.
We got a pin. So if you get a lifer,
The
you
last
get a
update
pin.
is we're up to 209 species.
We then went to Bird Trivia, where we assembled an all-star team and placed in the top 5.
Badgerland in 4th and 5th.
Let's go, squad.
Day 5. To start the day, we headed east to join an accessibility field trip at a place called Meadowbrook Marsh. We met up with the other participants and got to work finding different birds, with our primary targets being warblers. Got a yellow warbler in my sights. Looks like it's getting some food.
Can you see?
We've had some incredible views of yellow warblers here, and I feel like they've really been a star of the festival, just giving amazing views. So for anyone who is kind of getting into warblers for the first time, they're a great one to learn because they seem to just be out in the open here.
We made our way through the forested area, and then along the edge of the water where we found some marsh birds. After the trip concluded, we did a little more birding on our own, before once again going back to McGee Marsh. This time, it wasn't so much about spotting birds, as it was about talking to other birders and having them participate in a trivia challenge.
Trivia was good. It was fun. People of kind of all different levels. I feel like we asked questions from a lot of different spaces, so it'd be like a bird ID and then a song, and then if it was a song they weren't familiar with, it's tricky, like geographical stuff. So it was cool. I think we need to do more of that in the future.
From McGee Marsh, we went to Howard Marsh in search of some birds we didn't have yet for the state. Really excited because we just found a Wilson's phalarope, and that's a species we still need for Ohio, and I think it's one of the coolest shorebirds. They're really funny because they just whirl around in the water, kicking stuff up with their feet and then eating it, kind of like making a little cyclone. But there's one out there, really excited to have found that species. After finding more birds at Howard Marsh, we went to Maumee Bay Lodge, where Ken Kaufman was the keynote speaker, and a celebration was planned for him. Secret cake?
Yeah, so Kim got Ken this cake for the book, and he doesn't know. So we're going to try to get his reaction when he comes out and sees it.
Secret cake. After Ken arrived, he signed copies of his book, The Birds That Audubon Missed, and we had the chance to talk with him.
You know, I started gathering material for this book like 15 years ago and was actively working on it for 5 years. And one of the most challenging things I've ever done. So it was just a coincidence that it happened to be finished at a time that it could be published. The publication day could be like during the biggest week. We didn't even know that it would be until late fall. I finished writing the book in August. I went back and forth with the editors for months with changes and edits and things, and sometime around December we found out that the publication date would be May 7th. And that's, first Tuesday in May, and it's in the middle of the biggest week. So I felt so blessed that I had a chance to come give the keynote and the launch of the book at this festival that means so much to me.
Before calling it a day, we had one more field trip to go on. So we just got done at the lodge. There was a ton of energy. Talked to so many people that we met throughout the week. Just a lot of stuff going on there. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is it's time for the Woodcock Walk, which we're going to try to be on. The bad news is it kind of feels like there's a storm brewing, and in that case, we're not sure that this thing is going to happen. So we'll see if we can get to go on this Woodcock Walk and see some woodcocks. I hope we can, but if not, I guess we'll have to head back to the hotel. In spite of the weather, we proceeded on the Woodcock Walk. It just so happened that acclaimed author Amy Tan was on the same walk.
No little amount of rain is going to keep them from making love.
If there's a tornado, are you going to stick it out?
A little tornado or a big tornado? Medium tornado. If it lifts up a woodcock and that's all, then I'll stay.
We ended up hearing the woodcocks before the storm hit, and ended the day without getting rained on.
We got woodcocks and we didn't get tornadoed yet.
That's it. That's the sound.
Day 6. Day 6 was our final day at the biggest week, and we were determined to make the most of it. We started out at McGee Marsh, where we spent a little time looking for vireos and warblers. We then met up with our friend Tiffany, who was showing us how to use a very exciting piece of birding technology.
Hey everyone, we're here with Tiffany Kirsten from Swarovski Optics, and we have the new AX Vizio binoculars to test out today. They're a really innovative product, and they're the first binoculars that are supposed to be able to identify birds for you, and they have a couple other cool features as well. So Tiffany, can you tell us a little bit more about what these are and why people should be interested in checking them out?
Yeah, so the AX Vizio is the world's first smart binocular. It has essentially the Cornell Merlin technology built into the binocular, and it has several features. The main one that most folks are typically interested in is the bird ID feature. So you can focus on a bird and basically take a photo and identify the bird at the same time.
We birded the estuary trail while testing the binoculars and getting a feel for their capabilities.
We just got done testing the AX Vizio. It's really fun to use. Doesn't always get the ID right, but it's nice that it takes the photos and gives the confidence rating. So I think it's a really cool tool. I call things like these luxury birding items. Like if you have the money to spend on it, it's definitely a cool thing. Might not fit in everyone's price range, but definitely neat to test out.
We looked around the estuary trail longer, encountering some different birds, including another prothonotary warbler and an elusive water thrush. We moved on from McGee Marsh, visiting the boardwalk entrance one last time before going to a new location altogether. We just left McGee Marsh. We're going to go to another marsh called Metzger, which is one that we actually haven't been to yet. So it's one of the few places in the immediate vicinity that we've heard a lot about but haven't gotten the chance to visit yet. So now we're actually going to do that. We'll see if we can find any more first-of-year birds for the state of Ohio, but I feel like we're kind of running out of easy ones that we can get, so any bonus bird would be great. We started searching Metzger Marsh when we noticed a bird that was rare for the area.
We just heard a prairie warbler, which I think would be pretty rare for this area. So if we can get some eyes on it. There it was.
That's 100% a prairie warbler. We spent a long time trying to actually get eyes on the prairie warbler, and with the help of many birders that arrived on scene, we finally did. With an extreme group effort, we were able to track down the prairie warbler. There was a guy who finally got eyes on it. He said they actually nest in his backyard. So he was very familiar with prairie warblers, and he was like, I could just tell it was right above me, and it actually was above him. Didn't get great media of it, but did get some videos, which is really nice. I feel like we really contributed to the festival now, finding a rare warbler. It's the ultimate experience of the biggest week. It's getting that rarity and letting other people in on it too. To end the day, we went to the Maumee Bay Lodge for a banquet and Amy Tan's keynote. After the keynote, we reflected on our time at the biggest week.
So this is our last night at Biggest Week, and we wrapped up the banquet and Amy Tan's keynote, and it's very quiet here. It feels kind of like, not that the energy is winding down for everyone, but kind of just for us, so we're taking it all in because the festival continues. Unfortunately, we have to head out, but we had an incredible time here at the Biggest Week.
Our time at the Biggest Week was a lot of fun. The wide variety of migratory birds, people to talk to, and activities to participate in made for a fantastic week at one of the most popular birding festivals in the country.
The Biggest Week was incredibly memorable and super fun, and I'm excited to go back next time we're in town. Now, the next festival on the list is the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival in South Texas. This normally takes place in November, and I actually got to guide and film at this festival, so this is kind of my experience as a guide as well as a participant, and then also, you know, just enjoying the whole experience. So this was the first year I was down there, and we had some really exciting finds. It was pretty rainy. Normally the weather's much nicer, but some of the target species are the valley specialties like green jays, long-billed thrasher, Altamira oriole, great kiskadee, but there's normally some rarities that show up too, so there's often a lot to see, and as you'll check out in this video, we had an incredible find at the end of the festival. There may be between 500 to mid-thousands of registered participants, but then there might be several thousand people just kind of in the region birding at that time. So enjoy the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival.
When you're heavily interested in a certain hobby, it can be incredibly fun to go to festivals and events that revolve around that topic. In birding, there are many different festivals to attend, but it can be hard to tell what going to one of these events is actually like. In 2023, my friend Nathaniel and I got invited to guide and film at the 30th Annual Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival in South Texas. The 5-day festival occurs yearly in the fall in Harlingen, Texas, and involves field trips, seminars, a trade show, raptor show, and more. We arrived in Harlingen a few days early in order to do some birding on our own before the festival kickoff party the following day.
After about 10 hours of travel, we finally made it to Harlingen. We first went to Orlando, where we got a house sparrow inside the airport. It seems like a good airport for that. And there was a bald eagle flying around. Then we flew to Houston, stayed on that same plane, and then to Harlingen. So like 10 hours of travel time. So we're really excited to be here, excited to partake in the festivities. Checklist man, how are we feeling?
Feeling good. Tired, but...
It's your first time in Texas.
It is.
That's gotta feel good.
It does feel good. I like to get across the U.S., you know.
Before the party, we were able to see some awesome rarities, including a golden crown warbler, distant American flamingos, and a roadside hawk.
We had an awesome day of birding. Now we're gonna go to kind of like the festival kickoff from 6 to 8, and then there's a guides meeting. So hopefully we'll get to meet a bunch of people and talk about some of the birds we saw today and what we're doing the rest of the week.
The party was a great opportunity to meet other birders and included a word from the Harlingen city manager, who even recalled getting a life bird at the festival.
A few years ago, we had an Amazon kingfisher that was located here in Harlingen, the only second time that it's been spotted in the United States. And it was here, and I actually got to see it, so that was very satisfying. And I'm not a birder, so I was really excited. So I hope that you find another bird that's rare here in the valley.
After the kickoff party and guide meeting, we headed back to our hotel to prepare for our first day of guiding the following morning.
Just had our meeting for the guides, and we went over kind of all the rules, the expectations. A lot of cool people, excited to get to know them more over the course of the festival. We also got some cool festival hats and festival shirts as well.
The next day, we set out on our first tour, co-led with seasoned birders Cameron Cox and Allison Anholt.
First day officially guiding here at the festival. It looks like we got a great group to work with on South Padre. We have Cameron and his wife, who are both pros here. So we've already seen some cool stuff. There's been a peregrine falcon. Excited to get to know everybody here at the festival and see some more cool birds.
Our first stop was the Forest and Beach on South Padre Island, where we picked out a wide variety of shorebirds, including piping plovers. We also spotted some beautiful roseate spoonbills before heading to the South Padre Island Birding Center. There's a lot of cool stuff here. It's been a super whirlwind. We had a ton of good birds at the mudflat, and now we're seeing stuff a little closer, which is great for tours, and some new species as well. We had an American oyster catcher, a non-white morph reddish egret, and hopefully we'll see even some more cool stuff. Along the boardwalk, species gave us incredibly close views, and we even got glimpses of a mangrove warbler, which is a subspecies of yellow warbler, in which males have a maroon-colored head. After making a few more stops, we headed back to the convention center, pleased with the variety of birds we were able to see in the South Texas heat. So right now we're at the convention center, and this is where everyone kind of congregates before the field trip, so they have some stuff set up. Tomorrow there's going to be more like booths and tables for people to check out, but right now there's some presentations going on, there's places where you can take photos, and we just got done with our trip today. It was really good, but it was really exhausting trying to get everyone on every bird, but it was a lot of fun. We made a lot of cool connections, and I'm excited for our future trips. So we're going to go out and see what else we want to look for today before doing some other stuff later. Nathaniel and I did some birding on our own, which included seeing the famous burrowing owl, and then finding our lifer green parakeets, which have established themselves in Harlingen. We got our green parakeets! After enjoying our parakeet views, we stopped by Sin T. Lee's presentation on flycatcher ID at the convention center. Flycatchers are a group of birds that can be extremely difficult to tell apart, depending on the species. Just got done with the presentation from Sin T. Lee. Got him to sign the flycatcher book. So that was really neat, and hopefully we can have him on the program sometime. Now we're going to head to the Birds and Beers event, hang out there for a little bit, and finally get some sleep before we are guiding tomorrow again. The next morning, we were up bright and early for our trip to Stephen Thompson Wildlife Drive at Laguna Atascosa, a section of road that is normally closed to vehicles. This day would start a stretch of unfortunately rainy days in the valley. Although the wet weather was needed for the area, it did put a slight damper on the festivities, although guides and participants kept their spirits up. We co-led the trip with guides Kelsey Biles and Michael Redder, and started off by getting everyone on one of the American flamingos that had been hanging out on the property. In addition, there were a wide variety of waterfowl, shorebirds, herons, and terns. From there, we cruised the roads in the vans, spotting other interesting species, and a unique mammal called a nilgai. These introduced animals are very large and can be found throughout the property. One of the highlights of this trip was a flyover bird that only 2 of our participants saw, an out-of-range white-throated swift. Thankfully, one of them got a photo of the bird before it quickly flew out of view. After our tour for the day, we checked out the expo, which has booths for different organizations and bird clubs, as well as optics companies, groups with live birds, and more. This area is definitely one of the hubs of activity at the festival, and is great for networking, testing new gear, and planning new birding trips to different areas, including Uganda.
Okay, my name is Kalema Livingstone. I come from Uganda, and I've come to attend this festival. It's been good, but interrupted by the rain. But hopefully next year we'll get a better season. And the turn-up was good, and we expect to come next year. We would like to tell the American people about the safaris in Uganda, about the bird watching, and the interesting game to see, including the gorillas and the tree climbing lands. So thank you to the organizers, and we'll be back again.
We just got done hanging out at Expo, and that was really neat. I just love the energy of the festival. Like, there's so many people to talk to, and there's so much going on. But it was nice to see all the vendors, people selling optics, talking about optics, doing tours, selling their artwork, everything like that. So there's a really good vibe in there. And we are waiting to do our parrot field trip in a little bit. So we've just been kind of checking out the other stuff, and hopefully we get some good parrots. After taking in part of a live show, Nathaniel and I got ready for our Parrot Palooza trip, where multiple guides take participants to look for wild parrots around Harlingen. Our first stop was to relocate the green parakeet colony, which didn't take long. We have just a massive flock of green parakeets for the tour. Really glad they were able to come out and see them. Everyone's been getting great views. It will be a little bit before the red crown come out, so we're probably going to enjoy these for a while before then moving on. After enjoying views of the green parakeets, we went to locate a red crown parrot colony. These birds come into roost right around sundown, and after a little bit of searching, we were able to see a nice group, which also included red lord and yellow-headed parrots, which were likely escaped or released pets.
Alright, everybody say yay parrots!
Yay parrots! The next day, Nathaniel and I had a trip to look for Aplomato falcons on Old Port Isabel Road. The road is mostly dirt and is not the best kept, so we tried to get out to search it before the impending rain. We're here on the Aplomato Alley tour with Willie and Jesse, and we are checking all these posts for Aplomato falcons. Nothing yet, but we're going to cruise kind of the whole road. We're hoping the weather holds out and doesn't get too bad, because if it gets too rainy, we're not going to be able to kind of finish out our trip here, and we'll have to head elsewhere. So hoping that holds out. We've seen some sparrows, some interesting South Texas specialty species like white-tailed hawk, but no falcons yet. Along the road, two of the most obliging birds were a tropical kingbird and a northern rough-winged swallow. We did end up seeing an Aplomato falcon along the road, but our best views ended up being at a nesting platform as the rain began and intensified.
We got falcons! Yeah! Yay! Success! You guys think that's the coolest falcon species?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
We made a quick stop at Laguna Atascosa, spotting a peregrine falcon along the way, as well as a cool reptile in the rain, before heading back to the convention center. There I got to catch up with Justin LeClaire, the field trip coordinator at the festival, to hear more about what makes the Rio Grande experience so special.
Hey guys, this is Justin LeClaire. I'm the field trip coordinator here at the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival. It's one of the biggest festivals in the country. People come in from all over, both from the US, Canada, Mexico, sometimes out of this hemisphere as well. You can come down here and see about 30 of our kind of more local species that you can't see anywhere else. In the US, we have guides that we ship in from all over the country, again, and out of country. Get a whole bunch of people that are able to really give a really good diverse background. And so in addition to all of the folks and the participants that come, we've got 150 field trips this year, I think. We are going to 40 or 50 different locations, and we have a couple different trip types at those. We've got some night trips, we've got some afternoon trips, we've got parrot trips, kind of something for everybody in the form of trips. And then inside the convention center as well, we have a giant vendor room, 60 plus vendors in there in the trade show. We have a silent auction, and we have a lot of free family fun as well. So we've got some children's writing, art, and photography contests. We have a raptor show, so every few times a day you can go outside and see some hawks fly perch to perch, and they have a raven that will take donations from you and pop it in a box. It's really fun. So there's kind of really something for the whole family, and we're just trying to improve year after year, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing you down here as well.
After chatting with Justin, I went out in the rain to bird on my own without much luck. And the next day, I led a big day van trip with my friend Isidro. Multiple big day vans went out in a certain time window to try and find as many species as possible. With the rain still a major factor for trip planning, we talked with our group and decided to make our focus staying dry. After adding a couple birds to our list, we made our way to Estero Llano Grande, a legendary birding location in Texas. Here we braved the rain and mud to bulk up our total, which included species such as the common paraque, a master of disguise.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. It's just totally trusting its camouflage, huh?
Yeah.
There are two here?
Yes, the other one is further up this way.
I also caught up with a few visitors to the festival from across the pond who I had seen throughout the week, and asked them about how they were enjoying the festival experience.
Oh, it's been really good fun. I've seen loads of stuff that we've not seen before. I think there's been a real variety of places to go and a variety of it's probably a proper word for this, but ecosystems is what I would use. And yeah, it's just been really good. I've not minded getting up a horrible o'clock every day.
Yeah, and the weather's been pretty great, apart from today we're experiencing some British weather.
We'll try to keep that out of the festival next year.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you could schedule that'd be good.
After chatting with our friends, our group continued exploring Estero and found a rare bird in a mixed flock that was actually a lifer for me, a Townsend's warbler. After the excitement of our rare find, we headed back to the van to check out our total.
Our species count is roughly about 68 different species right now. Considering the weather, and we've really only been to one park, it's actually really good.
68.
What do you guys think? 68 so far?
68 so far.
We headed to our next stop for the day, Edinburgh Scenic Wetlands, where we were able to locate another rare species, an eared grebe. All right, we've officially got our second post in the rare bird chat. Rare eared grebe, let's go. And we've been having a great time here. We just had an eared grebe out at Edinburgh Scenic Wetlands, as well as a green kingfisher. So our people are pretty pumped about that. I'm pretty pumped about that myself. Getting a pretty nice total. Like I said, we're kind of taking things a little more chill. We've still been able to find 2 rare birds, and hopefully we can find some more before the day is done. The wetlands were also great for least grebe views, as well as neotropic cormorants. On our way out, we all saw a rose-breasted grosbeak. We left the wetlands and picked up the famous burrowing owl, and ended up seeing a merlin on a power line to give us our 100th species for the day. After spotting a few more birds, we hit our time limit and ended our day with 106 species. All right, it's 4:30, so we're officially maxed out at 106 species.
Congratulations.
Good job all around. Well done. Awesome, 106. Solid number, great day of birding. Overall, we had a successful trip, seeing multiple rare birds and local species, staying mostly dry. Every big day van tallied over 100 species, showing just how much diversity exists in the valley. After returning, I decided to take one more lap around the expo. After making the rounds, I got to talk with one of the volunteers of the festival. The time and effort they put into this event is critical, and they are a huge part of its success each year.
The role of volunteers in this birding festival is essential to its existence. There are probably slightly over 100 volunteers, many of whom are from the Texas Master Naturalist, which is a program that is oriented towards conservation and is ongoing. The Texas Master Naturalists have to do projects, they have to put in hours for the benefit of conservation, and this is one of the things they may do. Other people, like myself, just because we want to strike a blow for wildlife in one way or another. A lot of jobs. If anybody who's seeing this wants to volunteer, our door is open. We have a great bunch of people. It's a great week. We have great volunteers. We have great guides, and we have a lot of great visitors. It's a lot of fun. You won't regret it.
The next day, I had an early trip to a now legendary location in South Texas, Santa Margarita Ranch. The ranch is private land that has limited access to birders, but allowed festival groups to come visit. This area is right next to the Rio Grande River, which helps separate the United States from Mexico, and up until the festival, Santa Margarita Ranch was known for having a reliable population of brown jays, rare visitors from the south. We're almost there, we're just taking a bathroom stop, and then we'll make our way into Santa Margarita. I really hope the rain doesn't affect the species too bad, because it's supposed to be like a legendary place. The brown jays have been pretty consistent. They didn't show up for one of the tours this time, but like before that they showed up almost every time. So hoping those show up. Things like Morelet seed eater, red-billed pigeon, Muscovy duck, wild Muscovy duck we have a chance for. So I really hope that the rain isn't gonna hold the birds down too much. We entered the ranch and parked next to a section of the border wall. Zach, one of the guides who knows the ranch incredibly well, gave us the rundown of how the trip would go.
We'll be on the bluffs for as long as essentially we desire, with a maximum of 2.5 hours, but if you want to go less, that's fine. Then we're going to come back to the vans. We're going to drive down past the ranch house. The ranch owner is going to open up some gates for us and park, and we're going to hike about a quarter mile or so to the area where the jays hang out, which is not the bluffs. They have been seen on the bluffs and they've been heard on the bluffs. So always have your eyes and ears open, but they hang out in the riparian zone by the river down at the other end of the range.
At the bluffs, we saw a distant ringed kingfisher, green kingfisher, and greyhawk. After seeing some birds in this location, about half of us moved further down on the bluffs to search some grasses for Morelet seed eater, another rare bird known to be found at the ranch. We did have at least one seed eater that popped out in the open for a second, but only a few participants got eyes on it. While trying to re-find the seed eater, a large bird flew by in the middle of the river. It took a couple seconds before Brian, one of the guides, called out, "That's a bare-throated tiger heron," which was the third time one has ever been seen in the United States. Jamie Harmon, one of the trip participants, got some excellent photos, and we gathered around to admire the find, still in shock about what we had just seen and how rare it was.
That's pretty sweet.
That would be maybe a third, and they're regularly found 20 miles that way.
Let's go, team!
Yeah, it's not a lifer for me, but it's a good ABA bird.
Yeah. Third goes record, bare-throated tiger, and that's insane. Wicked. Insane.
With limited time, we headed back to the van to dry off and celebrate our rare sighting.
Guys, how are we feeling back there? Bare-throated tiger heron, let's go!
We then parked further down and walked through the wet and muddy road to the location where the brown jays were normally seen. We stopped to look at a mixed flock and actually got another view of the bare-throated tiger heron as it vocalized next to us and then perched in a tree, obscured by branches.
That was cool. Oh my gosh. Very gorilla-like. See that really contrasting cap and that yellow facial skin right there. I think they're so beautiful. Just a very fine darling on their back. It is. Good rainy day to be out.
We moved down to the brown jay spot and Zach put out some fruit. While we waited for them to come in, a couple rose-throated bacards called, and one perched up nicely. Audubon's orioles could also be heard vocalizing in the distance. Unfortunately, the brown jays never did show up, but it was impossible to be disappointed with our bare-throated tiger heron find. After moving a Mexican free-tailed bat off the border wall and a long drive back to the convention center, we concluded our trip, the last one I was leading for the festival. Just got back from our trip. It was unfortunate we didn't have the brown jays, but I mean the bare-throated tiger heron, that's an incredible bird. Everyone, including myself, is super stoked about that one. And I think we did pretty well for how rainy it was, but you definitely have this kind of like festival wind down where like people are packing up. There's like a lot less energy. I don't like the end of festivals. I definitely like the start with all the anticipation. But this has definitely been a great one. If you've never been here, I would highly recommend coming. It's great for beginner birders or more advanced birders. Really a little bit of something for everyone. Would definitely recommend it if you've never been here before. Before leaving the convention center, I got to talk with Eric Brunke, one of the other festival guides, to get his final thoughts about what it's like to lead trips at this event.
Hello everyone, my name is Eric Brunke. I live in Duluth, Minnesota, and am a birding tour guide for Victor Emanuel Nature Tours. Here at the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival, having tons of fun with so many birds day by day, also having a blast connecting with so many people. Every single day has been absolutely just brimming with chachalakas, green jays, kiskadees, lots of Altamira orioles too, and there's even a lot of late fall migration happening. We're having a great time despite rainy conditions over the past few days, and this morning we even got to see a bunch of ducks coming in with the heavy rainfall, filling up ponds by the hour, so we've had a lot of fun. Day by day it's been absolutely magical connecting with people and sharing the world of birds together.
All in all, being part of the Rio Grande Valley Birding Festival was an incredible experience, and in 2023, 269 different species of birds were seen, including 6 that were seen for the first time in the festival's history. If you'd like to attend the festival this year, you can sign up for their email list at rgvbf.org to receive notifications, and registration normally happens in late summer. I'll always remember seeing that bare-throated tiger heron. That was an incredible event for that festival, and just as a guide, to have the opportunity to be part of a discovery like that was amazing. Our next festival is the Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival that takes place in Cape Canaveral, Florida in January. And some of the birds people look for on these trips are the roseate spoonbills, kind of the Florida specialties, the gallinules, the coots, maybe snail kite, Florida scrub jay, so a lot of Florida specialty birds. This one was really fun. Me and Ryan got to go be participants, and we got to film our experience at the festival. There might be close to 1,000 people registered, and maybe 1,000 to 2,000 people hanging out in the area birding at the time of the festival. The Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival is an annual event that takes place in beautiful Cape Canaveral, Florida in late January. This area, known as the Space Coast because the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station are also located there, is a premier birding destination with many unique species to see and many wildlife refuges and natural areas to visit. The festival takes place over 5 days and includes guided birding and nature trips, presentations and workshops, keynote speakers, photography trips, an expo center with vendors, including optics and tour companies, events for young birders, and more. In 2025, my brother Ryan and I visited the 27th festival in order to see what it was all about. We arrived at our hotel in Cape Canaveral and got ready for our first day of the festival the following morning. We're now here at our room at the Radisson, and this is where the festival is based out of this resort here. So the room's nice, but it is really windy and it was pretty rainy today. So I'm hoping the weather isn't too bad tomorrow, but I'm excited to see what the festival is all about and see some more birds. Day 1.
We're going to see what conditions face us today. Looks rainy and cold. Looks about the same as yesterday, except maybe worse.
Our first stop was the convention center, where registration was taking place and the vendors were setting up. We're here at the registration booth, so this is the first thing you would probably do when you show up here, is you'd be at your hotel, you'd come in, you get registered, you get your badge, and some of the field trips are actually running already, so you might have that right away. But it's kind of cold today, so some of them didn't run, but hopefully in future festivals the weather's beautiful.
Right now, everybody here is setting up their booth for the rest of the week for people that are staying all week, and it's kind of the calm before the metaphorical storm as we kind of have an actual storm going on outside. But it's interesting to see what they're going to do this week with the weather not being ideal for the first couple of days. I bet a lot of people are going to come in here. We went to the registration area and we got a free water bottle, and then we got some Space Coast t-shirts as well, so that's exciting to finally get some Space Coast stuff, and we'll be probably wearing it sometime the rest of the week.
After getting our gear and stopping for breakfast, we headed to our first location, Black Point Wildlife Drive, which is a 7-mile auto tour that's part of Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge. The refuge consists of 140,000 acres of habitat and was established in 1963 to protect migratory birds. It is now home to over 1,500 different plant and animal species. After a little bit of driving, we arrived at our destination. So we just paid the $10 fee, but we got out, saw some egrets, saw some shorebirds, but I think spending more time in the car is a good call because it is pretty windy out there. But let's see what we can find on this wildlife drive. I've been really loving the habitat. There's some mangroves out there, love mangroves, so this should be a fun time. Right at the entrance of the drive was a variety of shorebirds, including an abundance of Wilson snipes. Further down, the vegetation opened up, and we noticed even more interesting species. There's loads of waterfowl, there's terns flying around, there's a pair of roseate spoonbills. One cool thing about them is as they get old, they actually get bald, so it looked like one older individual and then one younger individual feeding. And it's just so much to look through out here. When you have so many birds around you and they're at such close range, it's hard to know what to focus on. So this was definitely one of my favorite parts so far here. After our time at Black Point, we stopped at a manatee overlook to see if we could get our lifer views of these special mammals.
No manatees this time, but we're not going to stop. We're going to keep trying to find manatees. Maybe not today, but some other day.
You know what I do have for you?
What?
A cattle egret.
Ooh, look at them. I'm a fan.
After striking out on manatees, we made a stop at Haulover Canal to see if we could locate some American flamingos that had been hanging out there, but they also didn't seem to be cooperative. We have not seen any flamingos yet, but we have had a couple dolphins hanging out over here, a spotted sandpiper, and we've just been enjoying the iconic landscape with the mangroves and the beach and, the dolphins hanging out. After exploring the canal, we made it back to the convention center where the vendors were now all set up, chatted with some friends, and stopped in notable author Rosemary Mosco's keynote presentation. Rosemary highlighted some common species that are often overlooked, and also showed some of her funny comics. After that, we headed back to our room to prepare for the next day. Day 2. Seems less windy, which is good. Still cold and gray, though. After getting some breakfast, we headed to Helen and Alan Cruikshank Sanctuary to look for the Florida scrub jay, Florida's only endemic bird species. With the windy conditions, there were only a few species of birds perched up, and none of them were scrub jays. We continued walking, and eventually ran into a group of our target birds.
That's a life bird.
That's a life bird. It's nice to get it in this really cool habitat, too.
We're here hanging out with some Florida scrub jays, the only endemic bird species of Florida, which makes them very special. So we are very excited to see these birds that are actually federally threatened.
We have one of the scrub jays foraging right in front of us here, and they've been being really goofy. Once we found them, we got to see some of their behavior of walking on the path, being in the trees, being on top of the trees. So even though it's not the best weather for them, they still seem to be pretty active once we were able to locate where they were.
After appreciating the scrub jays, we decided to move on to our next adventure.
Now we're doing something we weren't really planning on doing today, but it feels like a must-do. We're going to check out the manatees at Blue Spring.
Blue Spring State Park has crystal clear spring-fed water that is warmer than the water in the surrounding areas, which attracts manatees when the temperatures drop. After parking, we walk towards the water to get our first ever looks at manatees.
Looks like there's a few manatees out here. Oh yeah, look. Oh, you can see a ton of them. Look at that. There's all heading left. You can see the faces breaching out of the water. That's so cool.
Further down, we got even better views of the manatees.
This is so cool. This is exactly what we wanted. Come to Blue Spring.
The manatees we're looking at right now are called West Indian manatees, and they actually have separate subspecies. So the one we have here is the aptly named Florida subspecies, or the Florida manatee.
We spent a while watching the manatees, stopped by the gift shop, and also appreciated the birds and fish before heading out. On our drive back, we got word that a rare black-headed gull was spotted at the Cocoa landfill. Unfortunately, we arrived near the time when it was closing, so we weren't able to get in. However, we added it as an option for a cool rare bird to chase in the coming days. Overall, we had a fun, gloomy, and rainy day, finding the scrub jays and seeing the manatees, proving that the wildlife is still findable in Florida even if the weather doesn't cooperate. Day 3. Our third day of the festival included our first field trip, which was a meet-on-site trip led by gull expert Amar Ayash, who already had some rare birds picked out for us to find.
You ready to shove off then? You will follow Amar. We'll give you directions to get to the glaucous gull.
First field trip. We're going to look at some gulls and shorebirds. Lots of people here. Should be a good time.
We arrived at the harbor, and everyone excitedly went towards the water to try and get a look at the rare glaucous gull. Almost immediately, we spotted this large white bird in the distance. Even with the excitement, the weather was still on the top of our minds.
I think this is the worst day we've had yet of weather, but we got a glaucous gull, and I have a feeling it's just the beginning, because Amar is going to pick it out if it's here.
Pick what out?
Anything.
I'm Amar. We're going to Jetty Park. As far as gulls, tier 1 gulls would be like laughing gull, ring-billed gull, lesser blackback. Tier 2 gulls would be great blackback, Bonapartes, and tier 3, we just got one, glaucous, and if we're really lucky, we'll get an Iceland or Sabins.
Our group headed over to Jetty Park, where some terns and gulls gave great photo opportunities while flying next to the jetties against the wind. So we had a bunch of Bonaparte's gulls, Forster's terns, Royal terns out here, but we're going to move down the pier to see what else we can get. The Bonapartes are giving really nice views, which is nice, and I was taking some time to photograph them. Really beautiful. We moved further down and eventually ended up on the beach, where a mixed flock of birds provided some nice views. A good addition to the group of birds were some friendly ruddy turnstones that would pop over to our group to say hello. The ruddy turnstones, they come right up to you. They act like little puppies. It's actually really adorable. After leaving the beach to get out of the wind for a bit, Amar got some news that would change the course of the rest of the day for us.
It's not a bird that's here, but they do have the black-headed gull at the Cocoa landfill. I can give you a pin if you want to try for it now. I wouldn't be offended if you left the group.
We arrived at the Cocoa landfill, checked in, received our safety vests, and a map. Once we got to the location where the bird had been seen, we started trying to re-find it amongst the other gulls. With the help of some other birders, we eventually had a breakthrough.
Nice.
That is so cool. We got our lifer black-headed gull. That wasn't even on our radar for this festival, but I feel like that's kind of the star bird. We got a ton of people here at the dump looking for this rare species, and the sun's out. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be qualified to say this, but I've been to several landfills looking at birds, and this is a really quality landfill for birding. The people that we talked to when we came in here said that a lot of people come birding here because, I mean, there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of birds. It's not just gulls. There's white ibises, there's wood storks, there's all sorts of crazy stuff. But we were able to find that bird. It was really tough to pick out. It looks like a Bonaparte's gull with an orangey bill. And I don't know if I'd have been able to find it if not for all the info that other people gave us on where it was, and people found it in their scope and everything. And once you got to know what it looks like, you can pick it out, but it's tough. It's tough out here.
Yeah, the original finders are here, and that helped a bunch, having them to kind of help locate it. So everything took off, so we're going to try to find it again, see if we can get some more media. All the gulls took off and flew over us, so I definitely got hit. It's brutal. It's dangerous.
He was in the splash zone.
It's a dangerous game out here in the dump. After our successful rare bird chase, we went back to the hotel to stop by a sparrow identification workshop. After that, we made our way down to Rich Grissom Memorial Wetlands, also known as Vieira Wetlands. This area hosts over 200,000 birders each year and is a great place to see marsh specialties. So far, this has been a really chill and relaxing place to be. You're kind of above the marsh, so you get to look down into it. And now that the sun's come out, it just feels so much more relaxing out here. In the wetlands, we saw great blue herons, egrets, wood storks, and a nice group of other wading birds up in the trees. Although the wading birds were fascinating, it was a small, brightly colored songbird that stopped us in our tracks. We just had a beautiful male painted bunting, and I feel like that really made the walk for us, because we had seen some cool birds, but when you get a species like that, it just kind of makes the whole trip. Roseate spoonbill too, that's another species where it's like, wow, you're just kind of blown away by it. So great find on that male painted bunting here. We finished our loop around the wetlands, spotting a cooperative blue-gray gnatcatcher on the way out, before heading back to the hotel to catch author Ken Kaufman's keynote presentation on his book, The Birds That Audubon Missed. After the presentation, we caught up with Ken, who told us more about his book and his thoughts on the festival.
Ken Kaufman. I'm here at the Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival, partly to talk about my relatively new book, Birds That Audubon Missed, and mostly just to hang out because this is such a great festival. I've spoken at Space Coast before, but they've moved to a new venue now. This is really a great spot to have this event. So just love coming here at this time of year, partly because it's always so warm and sunny and the weather's so pleasant. So,
good one.
Yeah. a little chilly this year, but not compared to Ohio at this moment. So yeah. Just happy to be here and happy to be talking with you guys.
So we just got back from Ken's talk. It was really great and really well received. And we actually got to hang out with Ken afterwards, and Greg Miller, who Jack Black's character in The Big Ear is based on his life. He was there, our friend Will was there, Allison from Birding by Ear. We just saw Amar, who wrote the Gull Guide. So great aspect of these festivals is that you get to hang out with other birders and just get to socialize. You're all in one place and you can talk about the birds you saw, ask them questions. It's really fun and really great reason to go to one of these festivals. Day 4. On the 4th day of the festival, we got to hang out with famous birder Greg Miller. In the movie The Big Year, Jack Black's character was based on Greg. Our first stop was Hal Scott Regional Park and Preserve, where we were hoping to find red-cockaded woodpeckers amongst the longleaf pines. We walked the trail, looking and listening for signs of woodpeckers. While we walked, Greg confirmed we were searching in the right spot.
All around here, it's nice and wide and open. You have soft palmetto at the base, and the trees are not too close together. And this is prime habitat.
After not hearing much for most of our walk, we eventually crossed a small flooded part of the trail and stumbled upon our target bird, the red-cockaded woodpecker. What a great experience we just had with that red cockaded woodpecker. We watched it creep up the tree, pick at the bark of the tree, and go about its day, and eventually it flew off a little further. So in this spot we also got brown-headed nuthatch. So those are about the two birds that we were expecting to get in here.
This is definitely worth a stop. And you should never turn down an opportunity to see red cockaded woodpeckers. It's a real treat.
Red cockaded.
Feeling excited about seeing our target species, we left the woods and headed to one of the area's premier birding destinations, Orlando Wetlands. We started out by taking a free guided tram ride, where we learned about the history of the man-made wetlands and saw a lot of wildlife, including a secretive American bittern. The tram was a great way to see a lot of the area quickly. Afterwards, we had a chance to catch up with one of our guides, who told us a little bit more about this special place.
One thing that we promote here is what the wetlands does for the environment and also for the wildlife. Especially a lot of people that come here don't know that this great place is the largest man-made water reclamation facility in the United States. And what it does here and how it's managed is a key factor on the water levels, on nitrogen and phosphate that gets delivered into the St. Johns River. A lot of people come to see alligators, but we get to see a lot of more that want to come and see the birds, and also to learn a little bit more about this great place.
Next, we visited the boardwalk, where the close-up views of marsh birds blew us away. One vibrant species in particular caught our attention.
Absolutely nuts to be able to get this close to purple gallinules just right off the boardwalk. And then every time I think I'm done, I'm like, okay, I've gotten a lot of looks at this bird, gotten a lot of videos. I look at it again, I'm like, no, I need to go back and do this. And then in the background, there's all these spoonbills. So you've got these bright pink birds out there, you got the purple birds here. It's just crazy out here.
It's one thing to get one thing close, but everything has been right up in your face, so close you can't even focus on them.
After an incredible experience at Orlando Wetlands, we headed back to the convention center to talk to some of the vendors. How's the festival?
It's been great so far. A lot of interest, a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming in just to say hi. It's been a lot of fun.
Hello there, I am Mariah Heinowich. I am here at the Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival. I am showcasing PhoneScope products. So PhoneScope is a company that makes cell phone adapters to attach your cell phone to your spotting scope to take pictures and videos, or they even have adapters for your binoculars as well.
Yeah, it's a fun festival. It's actually my first time here at Space Coast.
Would you recommend people to come and check everything out?
Especially for the northerners, yeah, it's great. I think I saw 1,000 wood storks today, so don't get that back home in Indiana very often.
Here with the Brevard County Environmentally Endangered Lands Program. We're part of the county government for Brevard County. We manage, I think it's about 22,000 acres of property, natural lands throughout Brevard County, 72 miles long. Scrub jays are one of our focuses, also sea turtles. We exist because the citizens of Brevard County have voted 3 times to fund us through a special assessment on their taxes. So it shows some forward thinking by the people of Brevard County since the 90s.
Later that night, we also participated in a night hike at the Enchanted Forest Sanctuary. It was a fun event with a nice atmosphere, but unfortunately high winds kept the owls from making themselves known to our group. After the hike, we headed back to the hotel to get ready for our last day of the festival. Day 5. Our first event of the day was a shorebird identification workshop with local guides David Simpson and Dee Fairbanks Simpson, which took place at a notable seafood restaurant.
We're at a legendary location, Dixie Crossroads. It's a restaurant that's actually owned by the family of the founder of the festival. So this is where David Simpson's talk on shorebird ID is happening. And shorebird ID is something that I would love to get more info on, especially out in this part of the country. So we're gonna go check out some of that talk, and then we'll see where we go from there.
David and Dee did a great job talking about the ID features to look for, and the presentation also included ID of some other types of birds, including one that looked similar to a notable celebrity.
Gee, what the heck? There's this bird and he looks just like Danny DeVito. And I'm like, that's a royal turd. I knew just right away what she was talking about. It's got the short, squat little body and the bell-pounder body. It was so funny. It's like, it's just what it reminds you of.
Danny DeVito's catching strays out here.
After the workshop, we went out to Black Point Wildlife Drive to test our newfound ID knowledge out in the field.
There's two long-billed dowitchers right in front of me, and one of the things that David said was it looks like they swallowed a grapefruit, and you can definitely see it in these when they're nice and close. So it's awesome to have the ID workshop where you can see the pictures of things and then get to try it out in the field, and even consult with experts and say, hey, is this what I'm seeing?
Shorebird ID workshop. We've got a nice collection of long-billed dowitchers out here. They're feeding mostly out in the water, doing the sewing machine-like motion, the classic probing motion there. Grayish chest, white belly, little hunchback. They say swallowed a grapefruit type look, big chest, hunchback. And also mixed in there is Wilson snipe, which is very similar in shape and size. A little bit shorter legged than the dowitchers. Same kind of probing motion, but a little bit more stuttery. And it's more uniform, constant with long bill. Snipe kind of tends to do this little hesitant type thing. And of course, snipe has the streaking on the breast and the bold stripes on the back, the black back with the pale stripes on the back, but otherwise very similar. So really interesting opportunity to see both of them together like this.
After enjoying the beautiful morning at the Wildlife Drive, we headed back to Haulover Canal for a kayak trip, which was part of the festival. We were also finally able to see the American flamingos way off in the distance.
Got them, but those are some real distant flamingos. They're way out there. I'm glad we got them. That's a pretty iconic species that you can find sometimes here in Florida.
We began our kayak tour, which gave us the opportunity to view the wildlife in a new way, including the birds, fish, and an alligator sunning itself on the bank. It was an extremely pleasant day to be out on the water, and our guide Brian was extremely knowledgeable. During our trip, we even got to see some comb jellyfish up close. After our kayak trip, we headed to the Cape Canaveral National Seashore. We paid our entrance fee and headed to the beach in hopes of seeing some northern gannets, which would be a lifer for Ryan.
I don't know how good our odds actually are. It's going to be a ways out there if it's here, but people have been saying that this is the place to go for northern gannet in this area, so I think this is our best chance.
While scanning the beach, it didn't take long to see the majestic gannets hunting over the water.
This is absolutely unbelievable. I thought it was going to be a lot harder to find these gannets. People told us they were going to be really far out. I was thinking scope view, barely visible, but they're totally within range to actually get a really decent look at. Not only are there juveniles out here, there's actually a few adults too. We saw one fly by. So we're probably going to watch for more of them, chill here for a little while, see if there's any other birds, but unbelievable northern gannet experience, my lifer.
Pleased with our sighting, we headed out from the beach and headed back to our hotel, concluding our festival adventures. In the next few days, we headed south in order to see some different bird species, including some of the interesting parrots you can now find in Florida. Overall, we had a great time enjoying the Space Coast Festival, as well as the beautiful birds and wildlife that live in Florida. If you have the chance to attend, I would highly recommend it. This was another time when it was kind of unseasonably cold, unfortunately, and a bit rainy, but we still had a great time at Space Coast. And as a bonus, I have some footage from the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. I was only there a couple days with my friend Nathaniel, but we were able to film some of our experience. Some of the targets for this event are elegant trogon, painted redstart, five-striped sparrow, Montezuma quail, red-faced warbler, tons of cool birds to see in Southeast Arizona. And this normally takes place in August, so it's not as hot as it would be earlier in the year, which I think is good. They might have slightly under 1,000 people registered, with slightly more than that in the area at the time of the festival, but I hope you enjoy our experience there. Southeastern Arizona is one of the premier birding destinations in the United States. With its diverse habitats, high abundance of species, and stunning landscapes, making it an irresistible location for birding enthusiasts. For those eager to immerse themselves in the avian wonderland, the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival offers an ideal opportunity. Since its inception in 2011, this annual festival has become a highlight for birders worldwide. Held typically in August to coincide with fall migration, the event lures in hundreds of participants who
want a first-hand experience of this birding haven. Attendees can participate in a wide array of activities, including guided tours, workshops, presentations by keynote speakers, vendor exhibits, social events, and more. In order to showcase the festival experience, my friend Nathaniel and I traveled to southeastern Arizona, doing some birding on our own before heading to registration at the Hilton Hotel, where the festival headquarters were stationed. Hey everybody, Derek here from Badgerland Birding. Today, me and my friend Nathaniel are at the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. Never been to a birding festival before, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. We're about to go get registered. Hopefully we'll meet some cool people and see some cool birds. We checked in at the hotel and started exploring. It was immediately evident how much buzz there was around the start of the festival. Checked in, got our badges. Now we're just walking around the expo. There's all kinds of optics and different companies talking about their stuff, so we're gonna visit some of the booths, see what it's all about. At the expo, I caught up with Donald from Vortex Optics, who's also excited about the beginning of the festivities.
Hey, I'm Donald with Vortex. We're just so happy to be here in Tucson, the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival.
Got all the optics here. So what's the best one?
Best one, I go with the Vipers. That's my favorite. Although everybody loves our Diamondbacks.
You probably can't go wrong with either.
Can't go wrong with either. I mean, come on.
Awesome. Are you looking for any specific bird at the festival?
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
Yes.
Also can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong, again.
Luke Safford of Tucson Audubon kicked off the festival with young birder Grayson, who checked off the first bird on our list of species.
Costa's hummingbird.
Oh, there it is, the first mark of the festival. During the event, tour groups would check off what they saw after their trips returned, which highlighted the high diversity of species in southeastern Arizona. One of the speakers this year, Arjen Dwarshuis, who holds the global Big Year record, was also there to do a drawing for his new book, The Big Year That Flew By.
The best Dutch birder in Arizona. Bruno also has lifer Montezuma quill today. That's legit.
So we've been checking out all the booths. It's been really fun to talk to everybody. There's field trips, the camera stuff, artists, different things. And then they have the field trips going on throughout the week that you could sign up for in advance. And then they also have these different activities and presentations that you can go to. So there's so much going on here at the Birding Festival. There's such a buzz for the first day and all the activities. And I feel like it's going to be a great week. Unfortunately, we can't stay that long, but I'm glad we'll at least get a little taste of it. We just left, but we made a lot of cool connections, got a lot of business cards, pamphlets, got a Montezuma quill t-shirt. So I think it went really well and it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of the end of the festivities for now. We're gonna go get some dinner and then we got our field trips starting tomorrow. So today we're headed to the hotel where the festival takes place for the Madera Canyon field trip. And this is a famous Arizona birding location that I've never been to. I'm super excited for it. Also have my festival shirt on. Really love the way they design their shirts. They look really nice and clean. It's got a violet crown hummingbird on it. So let's go check out Madera Canyon. Our guides for the trip were Janice Travis of King Ranch and local guide Gordon. We boarded the van and eventually reached our beautiful destination. We made it to Madera Canyon. So our group's looking at a Bell's Vireo singing right now, and we had a flock of turkey vultures fly over. Janice and Gordon immediately started picking out birds and also gave helpful tips on identifying them, including the Bell's Vireos that were extremely abundant.
I think Sibley describes it as having a blank look because of that pale supercilium.
Yeah. I know, you didn't see it well. But
yeah.
It kind of asks the question and answers the question, but it doesn't really follow that exactly. Sometimes it's abbreviated and stuff like that. But that's how I learned it, and I thought, well, that's kind of a cool little saying.
Further down the trail, we had great looks at lesser goldfinches, as well as a regal greyhawk. Some of the more colorful species, such as hooded oriole and blue grosbeak, were also present, but preferred to remain more hidden. We wrapped up our walk and headed to a famous location in Madera Canyon, Santa Rita Lodge, which had a bird buffet set up, bringing in many classic Arizona species. We had some cool stuff at the trail we stopped at, but now we're at the Santa Rita Lodge feeders. They have a really awesome setup with hummingbird feeders and regular ones and water features. And so there's been a hepatic tanager coming in, males and females we've seen. There's supposed to be a bearline hummingbird that we haven't seen yet, but there's rivoles, broad-billed, Arizona woodpecker stopped by. So we've just had a good array of species. There were turkeys on the way in, and there's a bunch of people watching the feeders. We actually ran into some more people we actually know. So it's been really good, and it's a great, nice shaded place to come hang out, and it's a little cooler, so it's not as hot as some of the other places we've been.
Although we could have spent all day at the lodge, we walked down one of the roads, getting some nice views of other birds we hadn't gotten good looks at yet.
And we're walking one of the roads and got a really nice view of a bridal titmouse. It's also western wood peewees making noise, and Mexican jays, acorn woodpeckers. Had a hawk fly over. It's nice and cool in here though, so it's a good place to come. In other places it'd be pretty hot, but really enjoying those bridal titmice.
From the road, we parked in a higher elevation area and walked one of the trails, spotting a stunning western tanager, and ending up at a spot where one of the top Arizona birding targets can be found.
So apparently this is the spot at Madera Canyon where people have been seeing and hearing trogons. We came up here just for a little bit. We didn't hear or see anything. It's cool to be in an area where they could be. We did have them earlier in our trip at Ramsey Canyon, so that was neat. Would have been really cool to see one here, but that's all right. It's just neat to be in an area where they could be, and at any second one could fly in and you could see one. So we're going to head back down, maybe hit a couple other places before heading out. I'd love to have like an entire day to explore here, maybe get here super early when the trogons are more active. Gordon was saying that it's not like their breeding season, so they're not calling and being as vocal, so they're a little harder to find this time of year.
Before wrapping up our trip, we made one final stop to see if we could pick up any species last minute.
Things are kind of slowing down, but we have had some nice acorn woodpecker views and a calling raven. So we're just kind of walking some of these roads, and then I think we're going to head back down. What's your favorite thing we saw?
Greyhawk.
The greyhawk.
We did briefly hear a sulfur-bellied flycatcher, and it flew past us quickly, but sadly, not everyone got eyes on it. With the day becoming hotter, we headed back to the van and concluded our field trip. Back at the hotel, I talked with our guides about the day we had and the festival.
I'm Janice from King Ranch. We did the Madera Canyon sample tour and came back with 47 species. It was a great day.
And I'm Gordon. I'm from the Phoenix area, and I go to Madera Canyon quite frequently, and I always love going there, and I highly encourage people, if you get to Southeast Arizona, come and see the birds.
What was your guys' favorite thing we saw?
Rivoli's hummingbird.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that, but we had great views of a gray hawk.
Yeah.
And I don't always get that.
So why should people come do the festival?
Because there's so much to see and do, and we have so many places to go. There's more than just the Madera Canyon.
Lots of sky islands to investigate.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing the tour, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Before everyone left, we made sure to mark our sightings down on the festival checklist.
Exactly match this.
Bam. At the checklist board, I also talked with Jill, another participant on the field trip, about what she enjoys most about the festival.
So I just like the collaborative effort of it, where you have a lot of people with different talents, that one person is a spotter, one person can hear, one person knows functions on your phone, and it's wonderful when you get together in a big group like this because it helps you learn about the birds and what kinds you're seeing. So
what was your
it's
favorite thing we
wonderful.
saw?
I guess I'll have to say the Rivoli's hummingbird.
Nice.
And so,
Awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
it was
Thanks
a
so
great
much.
time.
After one more lap around Expo, we decided to head out and end our festivities for the day.
We had a really fun time at the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. I think my favorite thing is all the connections you make and all the people you meet. Just with shared interests, it's really fun to talk. And I felt like everyone I talked to who I met for the first time, we had a mutual person that we knew. So it's kind of a smaller world than you might think. And I would encourage you to check out a birding festival if you've never done it before. There's a little bit of something for everybody. And I think everyone I've met has had a really good time here, and we definitely enjoyed it as well. So I would encourage you to check out a festival in your area or fly to one near you, like the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival.
So there you have it. Those are some of the biggest birding festivals in the United States. There's even more than that. There's a Cape May festival in New Jersey, a San Diego birding festival, and I feel like a lot of other smaller ones are popping up too. So a lot to see. If you haven't been to one, I would recommend the experience. Let me know which one is your favorite in the comments below, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.